Yeah, we're going to talk about that bad boy right there. That is the flat face forward set trigger from the people over at Apex Tactical for the Sig P320. Now I went down that Sig rabbit hole initially starting with the M17, which I've had a ton of fun with, but it left a little bit to be desired in the way of the frame and how it felt. So I got an RXP X Carry, which had the X series frame, which was a ton better. And as you can see now, it's residing on the Polymer 80 frame, which was even a better improvement. If you haven't seen that video, I will leave a link down below. And then I went and I picked up the RXP X full size. Now the X series does have a little bit of a better trigger than the regular P320, but I still wanted to test out some of the triggers. So I reached out to the people over at Apex and they were cool enough to send this flat face trigger out for testing. So thank you very much, Apex. I really appreciate that. Now, before we go any further, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. If you're into the SIG thing, or if you're not into the SIG thing, go ahead and give this video a like and leave me a comment down below if or not you're into SIGs and why so. Now, before we get into this thing up close, you need to understand the differences between the X series and the regular P320. Now, with this trigger kit or the trigger shoe, because you can buy them separately, if you have an X series, you're not going to see as much of a performance difference because it already has a better trigger system in it. Now, if you have the regular P320, that's where you're going to see all of those benefits, which are going to be the take-up reduction, the reset reduction, and that pull weight reduction. We're going to go ahead and get into the specs on this bad boy, show it to you up close, do some pull tests, all that good stuff, and of course, explain how the actual 320 trigger system works, so you can really understand what is going on inside this thing while you are pulling the trigger. Make sure you guys check out Shall Not Comply for that 2A swag. They have taken on me, Reno May, Johnny B, and probably some others in the future, so they can get shirts and patches and all that stuff sent out faster than we can. But we're gonna go ahead and get into this trigger from Apex Tactical right now. All right, let's get into that Apex Flatty right here for the Sig P320. So I got my M17 here, and then I have a RXP X Carry that's got the factory trigger on it right here, Polymer 80 frame. A little bit different here, but we'll kind of show the differences and the similarities between these setups. So just right out of the gate, the X series triggers are going to be a little different than the standard ones in the 320. So if you have an X series, you're not going to see as much of an overall change. You're not going to get the weight reduction, things like that. You'll still get about 30%-ish of overall travel reduction, which is still solid, because just to give you guys a good idea, okay, there is your take up, all right, wall break on the X. Okay, this is the factory X trigger. There you go. And let's compare that quickly with the Apex wall. So right there you can see it is quite a bit reduced even from the nicer X series trigger. Again, it's just the walls right there. Very clean break, very minimal over travel, if any, and then a really short reset right there. So definitely a marked improvement over, say, the more stock-ish rounded trigger shoe here on the M17. You can see pretty good amount of take up, and then there we go, some creep, some creep, some creep, some creep, and it breaks. So definitely differences. Overall, in the Apex flat trigger, you can get this in the full kit, you can get it in the shoe only, really gonna be up to you. But what they say is you're gonna get about a 30% weight reduction, a take up about 30%, a reset of about 20%, all reduced when it comes from a factory regular P320 trigger. In the X series, again, you're only gonna get the overall travel reduction. So let's just take a quick look at this thing. Very nice. And let's do some pull tests right out of the gate so you can kind of see where this is pulling at. Now I pull from the same time in all these flat triggers. I pull from the same place because I get my finger as low as I possibly can on them. So let's see. Get my camera to focus in for you guys right there. You can see just over 4 pounds. That's a little bit lower than I have been getting, but little bit, go a little higher on that shoe right about there. And we see we went over, might have over yanked that one a little bit because that went all the way up almost a pound. Maybe we'll do 4 pulls on this one instead of 3. Get on that shoe. Okay, so again, about 4 pounds and 4 ounces right there. Get that again. About 4 pounds and 10 ounces on that one. So we'll chalk that up to me using a mechanical device to test trigger weight. In comparison, getting onto something like the standard 320 shoe here on the M17, try and get as low as I can and pull out here. You're gonna be, that's about 5.5. Gonna reset that. Again, about 5 pounds and 8 ounces on that one. Do one more here. Okay, about the same, about 5.5 pounds, maybe 5 pounds and 10 ounces on that one. So about what I would expect. You see a little bit of that reduction in there. So let's get in here actually and see what you are going to get. So if you guys don't know, I'm going to quickly explain how the P320 trigger actually works. So what we have here, let me flip this back up, let's reset that sear. So your trigger bar in here is working. This little arm right here is disconnecting the striker block safety right there. And then this is your mechanical sear surface right there. So your striker lug is hanging on that. As you pull the trigger, that small arm goes up, disengages the striker safety. This goes down, your striker is allowed to go forward. As the slide reciprocates, it hits this arm right here. As this goes down, you'll watch the sear pops back up, striker lug grabs it, and that's what resets everything in there. So in the Apex kit, I'll just go ahead and pull this thing out of here, show you guys. So what you're going to get, if you guys don't know, this is actually considered the pistol because it's the fire control unit. So what we are going to get here in the Apex kit, you're going to get the Apex bar, the Apex shoe. You're going to get also, it's kind of hard to see, you're going to get a little spring right up in there. I'll give you the best angle I possibly can try here. I know it's going to be a little tough for you guys to see. So there's a little spring right there, and then there's this big kind of sleeve that goes over that. That is going to be your over travel stop. So basically as you're pulling on that trigger, that stops it from traveling too much further to the rear while that shot is braking, so you don't have that long travel after the striker is already let go. So very, very nice setup in here, very clean. You can see the nice big flat profile of that. It just feels really nice on the hand, and then that little tiny bit of a hook right there at the bottom really allows you to get your finger low on that trigger and work it quite good. They do have a curved version. I prefer the flat version. So it is what it is when it comes to whether you want flat or whether you want a curved one. So all of the performance on this thing is gained by basically cleaning up all of the angles and everything in there. There's no spring changes, nothing like that. You get the over travel stop, but it's just kind of redefining how everything works and goes on in here. That's what gives you that performance. I'm going to go ahead and get this back together off camera. Let's talk price, let's talk range footage, and how I feel the overall performance of this. Being that I have the X series, is it worth the upgrade maybe for the whole kit or just that shoe? That performance gain even on the X series is instantaneously noticeable. Now the pull weight doesn't go down, but even on the X you see an instant reduction in that take up. As for the regular setups like the 320 or the M17, you're going to see those overall benefits, that reduction in the take up, that reduction in the reset, and that reduction in the pull weight, which is going to make for a far nicer trigger than these SIGs come with. Now to me, holding the 320s in the store, the trigger always just kind of felt like a dud to me. It had a little bit too much creep, and when it finally broke, it just kind of went, it just kind of gassed out. It's a little bit different feeling on the range when you're actually using it, but it's just got a really weird overall break to me, and I couldn't really get past that for the longest time. When I got the X series, it made a huge difference, and that's when I kind of started to go down that rabbit hole. Now talking about what is actually available, it comes in a couple of different options. You can buy just the shoe in curved or flat faced, or you can buy the entire kit. Now, if you already have an X series like this, you're probably going to be best off and obviously the most economical of just buying that trigger shoe, because you can get the flat face or the curve, and I think it's right around 50 bucks. But if you have that regular 320 and you want all the benefits of the take up, the reset, and that pull weight reduction, you're going to want to go with that full kit. Now, the full kit like this one in here is going to run you right around 120 bucks as of January of 2021. Now, prices are all over the place and inventory is absolutely all over the place. So don't hold me to that, because it could change literally from day to day. And my favorite part of the trigger, definitely that wide flat face. Like I said up front, it's a flatty, but it is thick. Gives it a ton of surface area for you to get your trigger finger on there, go to work out on the range, and really have a good connection with that fire control unit to work that trigger. I do have a bunch of other SIG stuff coming. If you haven't seen the review on the Polymer 80 SIG grip that I already have out, I will link that down below. I did get the Wilson Combat grip module in as well, which I can tell you feels absolutely great up front. I have not had a chance to get that out to the range yet. And then I did try to do some tactical arts and crafts, tried to dye a white SIG X carry frame orange, because orange is one of my favorite colors, and then ended up with the tactical banana right here. So if you're going to try and dye a white SIG frame orange, it's probably not going to work. You're going to end up with a Chiquita banger out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Get out there, enjoy some range time, and remember, check out Shall Not Comply for that Sweet 2A swag, or any of those links down below to support the channel, or Patreon, of course, if you want to be ultra generous. Remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you guys on the next one.
A few moments later.
Of course, explain to you how the P320. And make sure you guys check out. I'm out of ammo!